1 week ago, I'd released a solo documentary of my wife and I reaching 10 years of our relationship. Today, I'll be sharing the journey that took me to creating that video, along with the pros, cons, and challenges of solo documentary. If you're a budding filmmaker like me, or you're just curious about the solo documentary process, I hope that my experience will provide some valuable insight into whatever you're trying to achieve. Yeah, right here? Okay.
Could you state your name and why you're here?
Hi, my name's CK, and I was the director, producer, editor, the everything of the Holly documentary.
Why are you creating this video?
Why did I make it? I mean, because I love my partner. I wanted to give her a gift that was memorable and lasting, something that jewelry or another plant couldn't beat, you know?
Oh, no. Why did you create this video that people are watching right
Oh,
now?
who's this video for? Reason for this is because most people want to create things that they envision, but it's hard to by yourself. And I wanted to help alleviate the process of creating a documentary about yourself.
How would you briefly summarize the steps that are taken to create a documentary?
Well, I feel like there's 5 steps. The first step is the idea. Second step is researching and scripting. Third step is filming. Fourth step is editing. And then the 5th step is publishing.
Don't you think that's kind of a simple way to talk about a documentary?
Well, yeah, of course. I mean, there's a lot of in between there, but I think when it comes down to it, keeping it to 5 steps is pretty simple.
So what happens in step 1, the idea?
The start of every idea is because there's a problem, and that idea springs up from that problem. What this problem was is I want to create a gift for Holly for our 10-year anniversary. I came up with the idea that I would interview our friends and family in secret behind her back to get information about how she was growing up, what they think of our relationship now and at the start of it, and what advice they have for us. Now, this was going to be a huge undertaking, and so this idea turned into the research and scripting phase from there.
So what would you say happens in the research and scripting phase?
In the research and scripting phase, you're getting as much information as you can prior to the filming and editing portions. In this phase, what we want to do is we want to create the script. What is the story that we want to tell, and the baseline of it along with the details of it. Then who are we interviewing? Reach out to those people, see if they have time for an interview, try to schedule them and keep to those schedules and check in with them the day before. Also, what questions are we going to ask? What's important for the story, and what questions can we ask to be able to get the story out of people? Big thing here is to get the problem and then the journey towards the resolution of that problem, or bettering ourselves, and then what can we do from there. Now, the downside of all this is that you can over-prepare sometimes, or you can under-prepare sometimes. So make sure that during this research and scripting phase, you are getting the main story down, and you're also checking all your bases of who you want to ask and what questions you're going to ask. Remember that you can always adjust as you go, but the more information and details you have and the more preparation you have, the easier filming and editing will go.
When we start filming, what happens out there?
In the filming stages, I learned a lot personally because I've never done a documentary before. What I learned in these filming stages is that you will adjust as you go. The questions will change as you go. The way that you conduct yourself in the interviews will change as you go. Before, I had my questions scattered. I didn't really have them in a linear fashion that allowed for a story to form. And what I learned from the first day of interviewing is that my questions need to be more streamlined for them to think of her in a direction, to think of the story overall. Because you're not just creating the story in post, you're creating the story when you're interviewing the people. One tip I can say is before leaving the interviewee, just make sure that you're recording the whole entire session and that the sound at least came out all right. My mistake was that I had accidentally started filming a session. I pressed a button on this mic and it caused the session to stop early, and I didn't realize it until it was too late. And during that interview process, you can find that things change because the answers that you're receiving and the story is being told in different ways, like who were they and how were they growing up? And that changes how you tell the story in general. So let's say that I was just trying to tell the story of us for 10 years, but then that story became a story about her and her perseverance to who she is today. That's when we reached the editing portion. In the editing portion, the story had changed a lot during that process. One thing I'll say about the editing phase is it can get a little dicey. You might cut out a lot of what you thought was going to be part of the story, but then once the video is put together, it's not working narratively. Now, after filming, I recommend when you're importing it to your computer or SSD that you try to rename it as you go, because that way you can have it more organized when you are referencing the clips in the future. Remember, while the research and scripting and filming phases are a lot of fun, it also will come to light about what is needed and what isn't needed during editing. A perfect example to be meta is that during this filming, I had filmed it a different way, and this is a different way of filming it to be meta of a documentary, and it wasn't filmed this way initially. Anyways, I think during the editing process, there's a lot of changes that are made. You can put out as much as you want, but if you don't get the story right, it's just not gonna work. You are getting bored watching it, or someone else is getting bored watching it, that means that the story is gone or you have derailed them from the story. It's not about being instant 1, 2, 3 cuts. It's about how are they feeling? Are you giving them emotions? While editing is both fun but also very frustrating, once you reach that story and you get the story down in concrete and pat down, boy, is it satisfying. And then once you're done editing, I mean, it's time to publish it. It's time to show it out to the world.
When you release this video, when do you feel like it's right to release it?
For me, I had made 2 different versions of the documentary. Because the documentary was 30 minutes long, I had posted it to YouTube and privated it until it was fully HD. On the socials end, I created a vertical version of the most important part of the story that drove people in, which was when I asked the one word, I mentioned my one word and then everyone else's one word. And I edited it so that way it worked vertically. I said I was gonna release a trailer during it, and I never did because I didn't have the time, because I was more focused on getting the story down. And I think it was worth it. The trailer would have been cool, but I think getting the story down and working on the story to be more concrete mattered more. The most important person was the audience, and that audience was my partner. She had cried watching it and had a great time watching it, even though it was incomplete at the time. But once it was fully complete, we watched it again on our anniversary itself. And man, the feeling of getting your core audience happy and the excitement out of it is very satisfying. And even if she didn't, I would just want to work harder the next time to get that smile on her face. But I did get that smile on her face. And for that, even only if she was the one watching it, I would be satisfied. And that's the whole point of it. The self-fulfillment of the videos that you create and who they're created for. For me, it's creating a story and creating videos that have purpose and that I'm proud of. Is this meta and corny, me making a documentary of a documentary? Yeah, it is, but I love it. I love doing stupid stuff like this. And even if it's not stupid, if it helped you out with creating a story, then, you know, give this a like, maybe even subscribe, and I'm gonna try to make more stories and more narratives like this as well, and giving life advice on how to stay happy and stoic. So if you like that, please give this video a like, check out my other videos, and have a wonderful day.